debaucheries occurred. So, in order to prove his theory that Manson had masterminded the killings of the prosecutor, Vincent Bugliosi had to spend months uncovering and analyzing the sources of Manson's control over the presumably free and footloose young people. His most important findings were these. So what would be the opposite of free and footloose young people? If you see the first line, it says, in order to prove his theory that Manson had masterminded. So what does masterminded mean? To mastermind something, because it's a verb and it's in the past tense. It's in the past perfect tense. So he had masterminded them. He had tried to control them. He controlled their behavior. That's why he altered their behavior just by masterminding them, okay? So the same is when you watch lots of movies and the topic is the same, murder, 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 and murder, and murder, and then again, murder, killings, murder, butcherings, all of that is the same. So if you keep on watching murder, 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 you will end up murdering somebody, okay? That is a masterminding process. So the other part is, in paragraph 4, find the words which mean the opposite of hiding and fail. So hiding, let me see which paragraph. So we got paragraph 4. Paragraph 4 is the one that I just read. In order to prove his theory that Manson had masterminded the killings of the prosecutor, Vincent Bugliosi had to spend months uncovering and analyzing the sources of Manson's control over the presumably free and footloose young people. His most important findings were these. So this guy was highly gifted. And we as teachers are highly gifted. We can control what our students will do in our classrooms. If we do this, we tell them how to read, and we also show them a way how to perceive things as they read. They can also enjoy reading. So here you got hiding and failing. Well, we have more than that. Don't worry about it. So let me show you the next one. A small world. A small world. So this is a reading that we will do. This reading is even better than the one before. The one before is about murder, and I don't like talking about murder, especially these days. The world is turning upside down. If you watch the news and if you read the newspaper, you will find Ecuador is in a very humongous state when talking about killings. It is huge when it comes to killings and murders and robberies and theft and whatnot. But anyway, let's be positive. So we will have to find out which words will go into the spaces, okay? I will pick up one. So Pablo, could you help us reading, please, from 1 to 10? And then I will ask other people to do the answers.
Okay. The climate where okay, sorry. The climate where I live is it never drops below the degrees. I learned about a teeny animal called some live on land and others are. The strange old man's behavior is quiet. The plastic chicken he takes with him everywhere is his only. James loves every type of plant and animal in the. Therefore, he's going to college to study. Without his child, this world fighter was defeating his enemy without protection was an amazing.
Thank you. Okay, I will help you find out the answer without reading the passage. Okay, you will find out how. The climate where I live is very. Based on the second sentence, we can find out that it never drops below 10 degrees. Then the former sentence means what? The climate where I live is very. Based on the second sentence, it never drops below 10 degrees. Oh, Ana Millone, please got the answer, but I couldn't hear you, sorry.
The climate where I live very hot.
Marcy, right. The climate where I live is very hot. It never drops below 10 degrees. Okay. You got one answer? Hot. So it never drops below 10 degrees what? You know the word
Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit is the minimum of Fahrenheit is 32. So
Celsius.
Celsius is the one, right? Okay, let's move on to 3 and 4. 3 and 4, I will tell you something. 1 and 2 are together. 3 and 4 are together. 5 and 6 are together. 7 and 8 are together. 9 and 10 are together. So you can figure out. I learned about a tiny animal called A based on the second sentence. Number 4. Some live on earth, some live on land, and others are. If they live on land, they are terrestrial. But if they don't, they are. Aha. This is how do you call it? This is a competence, okay? So you will have to compete against each other or in favor of the other. So Joel, what do you mean? What are your thoughts? A penny for your thoughts. What would be the answer for number 3? Based on number 4. I learned about a tiny animal called A. Some live on land, which are terrestrial, and others are.
Any animal, can we say?
It could be any, but they are on Earth.
For example, I learned about a tiny animal called broadcoats. Some live on land and others are aquatic.
Yeah, it could be any, right? Don't worry about it. We're going to find out. Let me see what they say in the chat. Praying mantis, it could be. Great. Some live on land and others are. What are your thoughts? What would be the answer? If some are terrestrial, the other are. So there are land animals and also there are.
Aerial.
It could be aerial, you got it. But they don't live in the air. They have to land somewhere. They could survive in the air, but they have to land somewhere. Don't worry, you will find the answer later on by reading. Those strange, let's do number 5 and 6. The strange old man's behavior is quite what? Normal? Aquatic, that's the word. Anna's got the word, aquatic. So others are aquatic. Okay, number 5. The strange old man's behavior is quite normal. It's not normal, so it's the opposite of normal. What is the opposite of normal?
Abnormal.
Abnormal. And what is the synonym for abnormal?
Rare.
Rare, that's the way. Rare. So that guy is completely rare. Andres got it too. Rare. So the plastic chicken he takes with him everywhere is his only If it were your friend, how would you call your friend?
Friend.
Apart from friend? It could be your classmate, but it's not your classmate. It's your someone you take everywhere, someone who walks alongside
Partner?
with you.
Partner.
It could be a partner, but there is another word. That is a
Acquaintance?
boy, but it's acquaintance is another one. Okay. What else? Someone who walks alongside with you, even if you're not there. Okay, let's move on. 7 and 8. So 7 and 8 are together. Jim loves every type of plant and animal in the. That is a scientific word, even though it might be basic, but it's a scientific word. It's composed of two root words, which are a Greek. Jim loves, 6 and 7, yeah. So Jim loves every type of plant and animal in the is an area, okay? Therefore, he is going to college to study a field of study, okay? Is a major. Let me see. Countryside could be the countryside, but it's a scientific word, believe me.
Rainforest?
Yeah, rainforest is a normal word, but this is a scientific word. It refers to a field of study in a place where it occurs, where it takes place. Where
Mark.
you have fauna and flora together. You will have all kinds of animals, all kinds of plants, and whatnot.
Forest.
Habitat could be, yeah, it's a habitat, but the habitat has a name, and ecosystem also is nearly related to the same. What I like is that you are overthinking now, thinking outside the box. Ecosystem could be, but there's another word. Okay, 9 and 10, we are about to discover, don't worry about it. So, without his shield, the sword fighter he wasn't disadvantaged, but there is only one word. Defeating his enemy without protection was an amazing.
Number 9, unprotected.
The word, yes, it means I'm protected, but there's another word. Without further ado, let's go on. Okay. Infinite, adjective. If something is infinite, it has no limit or end. So I will read you as an extract from dictionaries that we have. So you will find the meaning of what we just read, and then we will go back. So many scientists believe that the universe is infinite. Let me zoom it out so you can read. There we go. Because I want everyone to be able to read and visualize. Nucleus, noun. The nucleus is the central part of an atom or cell. So I believe that if you read more vocabulary, but not too much, you only have to get the main idea, not too much. One sentence and one main idea, and that's it. And then you can improve your proficiency in English, and then you can read and understand whatever you read, okay? No matter what it is, even if it's highly scientific. So nucleus is the central part of an atom or cell. The nucleus is made up of many tiny particles. Parasite, noun. A parasite is a tiny animal or plant that attaches to another animal to get food. It could live on earth, it could live in the water or in the air. So the first word that we were referring to here, Okay, number 3. I learned about a tiny animal called a or parasites. Okay, that was a parasite. Because a parasite is a tiny animal, obviously, it's microscopic, or plant that attaches to another animal to get food from it, to nourish himself from it. The sick dog was covered in parasites. Prominent, adjective. When something is prominent, it is important or well known. Queen Victoria was a prominent person in history. Repetitive, adjective. When something is repetitive, it is repeated many times and becomes boring or dull. Working in an assembly line, make cars every day is a repetitive word, job. Reproductive. If something is reproductive, it has to do with a living thing producing young. The reproductive system of a plant is simple. Temperate. When a place is temperate, it never gets too hot or cold. So you see the word temperate, and then we go upwards. Hold on. Okay. The climate where I live is very hot or cold. I'm using a red herring. So a red herring is something that will divide you from the right answer, okay? So whenever you read, you will find red herrings. Even up in your head, you will find red herrings. It will divide you from the right answer. So the climate where I live is, based on the second sentence, it never drops below 10 degrees Celsius. It's temperate. It's not hot nor cold. It's lukewarm. It's temperate, okay? So the climate where I live is completely temperate, okay? So temperate was the right answer, not hot nor cold, because
Mark?
it's in, yeah?
Should I in maybe use the word mild?
It could be mild. The weather is mild. Yes, it could be mild. It's not hot nor cold, so it's mild or temperate. And lukewarm, you can also use a word lukewarm. So lukewarm is LUKEWARM, lukewarm. From warm, which is almost hot. It's not hot nor cold. Anyway, temperate. So there we have. Esta reproductive. No, I read that already. In Peru, the weather is temperate. It rarely gets too hot or cold, okay? Sometimes in Lima, it never rains, right? If you are from Lima or if you're from Peru, you know this by fact. So tolerance. Tolerance is the ability to accept something painful or unpleasant. Boxers have a high tolerance of pain. Undergo. To undergo an action means to have it happen to you. The cancer patient undergoes treatments twice a week. Vulnerable. When someone is vulnerable, they are weak and without protection. So if you are without protection, you are
Vulnerable.
vulnerable. So you're vulnerable. Let's go up to check. Without his shield, the sword fighter was
Vulnerable.
vulnerable. Right. So then you get it. So the only thing that we need to know is a little bit of explanation plus a sentence, which is the example. And then reading becomes quite easy, okay? You don't need to read the whole paragraph or the whole dictionary. You just need to have the idea, to get the gist of the idea. He felt very vulnerable when he was stranded in the desert. So to be stranded in the desert means you have no water, no money, no one to help you, and you are without salvation, okay? That's to be stranded. To be stranding also, you can be stranding when you have no help from nobody, and you don't even have the strength to do something. You are stranding at the moment. But if you are stranded, it means, man, only God can save you. Okay, here is the real reading for Small World. Hold on. Can we have someone from the audience, a girl, please, to read? Any voluntary, please?
Can I
Me.
go, Mark?
Let me see. Could you type your name on the, how do you call it, on the chat? And I will pick you up. I will opt for the one to read. Have we got any volunteer?
Me.
Okay, Maria, could you read it, please?
Even though people can see me, I am an important part of Earth's biosphere. Scientists who study ecology know that I was the first life form on Earth. There is more of my kind than any other plant or animal in the world. Without me, other plants and animals would not even exist. I'm a protist, and my tiny body is made up of one single cell. In my small world, things can be absolutely bizarre. Unlike most aquatic plants and animals, I don't need a temperate climate. I have a very high tolerance for extreme conditions. Right now, I'm swimming around in a bucket of boiling water. The temperature is 150 degrees Celsius, but I feel comfortable. I have coarse hairs called cilia that help me swim around in here. I move my cilia in a repetitive motion for the duration of my swim. I cannot go very fast, thought. It takes me about 5 minutes to swim a distance of just 1 millimeter. When I get hungry, I look for tiny, vulnerable parasites. I swim up to one and swallow it whole. I digest things much like people do. I have an organ that works just like a human stomach. After I eat, I release nitrogen gas. Nitrogen is a prominent gas in the Earth's atmosphere. Other plants and animals need my nitrogen to survive. My reproductive ability is my most unique trait. I don't need a companion to mate with. Instead, I undergo a process called fission, where my own nucleus splits in half. An exact copy of my nucleus is made, which forms into another protist. It really is an impressive feat. I can create an infinite number of new protists all myself.
Thank you very much, Maria. So here we got it. This is the reading that we were talking about. This reading is for the C1 and C2 level, okay? But it's easy to understand once you have read the whole paragraph. I mean, the explanation of every word and then use in a sentence. That's all you need. You don't need the whole paragraph of every word that you see in the dictionary. So in the dictionary, you have two kinds of words. One is the defined word, which is the entry word. And then you also have an explanation of it. Sometimes you have examples. So you only have to read the entry word, the explanation, and then one example, and that's it. Don't read the whole thing because you will lose your mind. So let's find out. What does tiny mean?
Small.
Very small, very, very small.
Very small. Sometimes we call it teeny tiny, okay? Teeny tiny is another word. What is the opposite of tiny? Give me 4 words.
Big.
Huge.
Big. Okay. What else?
Enormous.
Okay, enormous is okay. What else? A word that begins with H and ends in E.
Huge.
Huge, that's the word. So huge and teeny tiny or tiny are the opposite of each other. The antonyms. You can also say the word colossal. Colossal means huge or humongous. Okay. You will find these words in the reading, so so they want to divide your attention or to test out your understanding when they use these words, huge, teeny tiny, tiny. Instead of small, they will use tiny. Instead of big or large, they will use humongous or huge. So which one is another word to use Celsius? Instead of Celsius, what would we use?
Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit, that's the word, right? Right, Maria. So Fahrenheit is another word that we use Celsius, but we have to be careful with the measures, okay, with the numbers. We have to know that if you talk about Celsius, the minimum of Celsius is 32 or 37, which is what our stomach is about inside. Our stomach is from 32 to 37 Celsius, but in Fahrenheit is called 0, okay? That is 0. So that would be the hottest, the minimum of hot. Okay, what does nitrogen mean? Without looking at the dictionary, without knowing the language, what does nitrogen mean? If you go to paragraph 3, you will find a word next to nitrogen, and also a definition soon afterwards. What does nitrogen mean?
Nitrogen, it can be okay, I'm not going to be repetitive with the same word like that, but it's like a chemical component.
Yes, it's a chemical component. What else? What does prominent gas mean? What does prominent mean?
That it's abundant. It's abundant. It's a gas that is abundant in the atmosphere, in the Earth atmosphere, as you said.
So it's prominent. So what does prominent mean?
That is huge. There are a lot.
Yes, yes. So prominent means important, right, Andres? You got it. So prominent means important. So it's essential. It's essential for survival. If we don't get any nitrogen on Earth or in the atmosphere, we will surely die. So if we will surely die is prominent, important, essential, or vital, okay? For our survival. Otherwise, we would not be here. Like water, we need water. Otherwise, God knows what will happen to us. So what does nucleus mean?
It's the most important part in a cell.
Yes, that is one important part in a cell. So the nucleus, the word nucleus means heart, the core of something, okay? The center, that's what Yasmin is got it, the center of a cell. So the center, the core, the heart of something is a nucleus. So your core feelings or your nucleus is where you have your feelings engaged or where they come from. So what does motion mean? If you read paragraph 1, almost in the second sentence, the last second sentence, you will see the word repetitive motion. What does motion mean?
Movement.
Movement, that's the word.
Movement.
Yes, movement. And what does comfortable mean?
Comfortable is to be in a, let's say, a relaxed position
Yes. So
with no urgency.
something that you can endure, endurable. So comfortable here, in this case, means endurable. If you read the whole sentence, you will find why. Hold on. So I have just highlighted it. Right now, I am swimming around in a bucket of boiling water. The temperature is 150 degrees Celsius. For us, that is boiling, okay? Boiling, extremely hot or sweltering. The parasite says, but I feel comfortable. He can endure it, so it's endurable, okay? For it is normal, but for us, that would be killing. If we were in water, boiling at that degree, oh man, we wouldn't even survive. So now you know why we sometimes have parasites. They are really hard to be killed. They are warriors. Okay, and then we have a word which is cilia. What does cilia mean? C-I-L-I-A, cilia. What does that mean?
Cilia is like a hair in animals, but it's a tiny hair. A tiny hair.
Yes,
Here.
that's the way. So if you want to find what cilia means, you just have to read this sentence, okay? I have coarse hairs. Coarse hairs are cilia. I have coarse hairs called cilia that help me swim around in here. So that would help him to swim back and forth or to zoom about. I move my cilia. So what is he using the cilia for? What is the purpose of using its cilia?
To describe it,
Yes, to describe it, that's one. And what is the aim of using I move my cilia? To describe what action?
that he is swimming around.
Yeah, that's the way, swimming around. So it will help him to move back and forth or to swim. Now you know why they have cilia. So cilia is a plural noun, okay? Cilium with U. So cilium is the single noun and cilia, which is plural, okay? So how long does it take it to swim a distance of 1 millimeter? How long?
How long? 1 millimeter.
I'm hearing someone, but not listening to someone. Could you say it again, please? How long does it take to swim just 1 millimeter?
5 minutes.
5 minutes, you got it. So 5 minutes. So when we when we find about numbers, is it a main idea or a secondary detail?
Second detail.
Yes, it's a secondary detail because in secondary details, you have numbers, places, names. You also have to look for large fonts or uppercase letters, okay? If you find for uppercase letters for numbers and places such as cities, countries, and provinces, then they are secondary details. How do you know the difference between a main idea and a secondary detail? How do I know which one is a secondary detail or a main idea? Anna's got it?
Yeah.
Skimming and scanning.
Yes. You can. So what is the difference between scanning and skimming?
Skimming is global and scanning is specific.
Yes, if you scan it, you just take a picture.
General idea is the skimming. General idea, global idea. And the other one is the specific name scanning.
Yes, when you scan for something, you look for specific secondary details. So the secondary details would be numbers, places, or people, okay? So whenever you see this, amounts, numbers, places, or people, they are secondary details. Then you have to look for it quickly. Whereas when you have to look for the main idea, sometimes in American English, they place the main idea in the first two lines of every first paragraph, every last paragraph. And sometimes in the first two lines or the first line of every paragraph and the last line of every paragraph in American English. Whereas in European English, they usually put it everywhere, okay? They place it wherever they want to and whenever they want to. It's not specific, okay? When you're gonna take a test, try to make sure that the test is rather American or European. If it's American, they always follow the same rule. The first two lines are the main idea, the last line is the main idea. The first paragraph has the two main ideas. The second, third, and fourth paragraphs have the first idea explained, the second idea explained in the second paragraph, and the third idea explained in the third paragraph. In the fourth paragraph, they have a summary, okay? They usually sum it up in the fourth paragraph, and they sum up the three main ideas and without explanation. They only just sum it up, and then they tell you the results. Whereas in European English test, they are different. They place the main idea wherever possible, okay? So in order to improve our reading, what comments have you got? Paupei, curious. Oh, okay. So what ideas have you got in order to improve our reading comprehension? And what takeaways have you got from our presentation? You can read it in the chat if you want to. I will leave the chat open so I can read. So takeaways are things or ideas that we get with us after having a seminar or an exposition. So what takeaways have you got from our presentation?
First and foremost, we should have a a great command, a colossal amount of vocabulary.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very
To
welcome.
know synonyms and antonyms.
Okay, Andres, what are your ideas regarding how to improve our reading?
As far as I'm concerned, my friend, and I told you at the beginning, vocabulary is basically essential, connected, and integrated with reading, and I think all the skills. Because if you improve or master your vocabulary, and you make it your basic vocabulary, and you turns into a, I don't know, intermediate, high intermediate, or advanced level, you will be able to read faster. Reading faster doesn't mean that your eyes move quickly. No, you have the ability to skim and scan easily, and read faster makes you feel comfortable in order to find out or to guess the main ideas or the secondary ones that are required in the standardized international exams. For example, Cambridge exams, TOEFL exams, when you are required, highly required, to understand, no, a high level of complexity, paragraphs that demands you to read with those skills, my friend.
Yes. And how about let's say we're teaching our students don't have even an A1 level. So we are teaching them how to read. How can we help them to understand difficult words from paragraphs? Even if it's difficult and they have never seen these words in their whole life, maybe the whole paragraph. But how can we help them to understand reading?
Well, I think there are many ways that we can use it. For example, the one that I consider was effective to me, and I can recommend to my colleagues and even you, for example, is that you can adapt some paragraphs in English that they are very basic topics, no, from daily life, and you can use simple paragraphs, and then you can underline the words, and you can ask them as you did before. For example, find synonyms, find opposites, like that, no? Or you can use, for example, cognate words, or you can use some basic phrasal verbs. For example, you can include basic phrasal verbs, and also you can use some words that are explicit. Now they're very easy to understand. For example, huge with big, or you can use tiny with small, kind of words like that. Students will facilitate to organize them in their mind, and then can use these words in order to advance, no, step by step, no.
Yes, that's the way. Okay, let's ask someone from the audience. I saw Pablo helping us reading. Thank you very much for helping us reading, Pablo. So Pablo, what is difficult for you when you read?
Sometimes some words, teacher, because I don't know how to pronounce them, so that's and understand what the paragraph want to say as well.
Okay. So I will tell you something that will help you read better or find out how it sounds. You can download a free app from your from Google Store or from whatever. You just have to read Pronunciation Checker. Okay, you can download Pronunciation Checker for free. You can have it on your phone, and you can check it whenever you want to, whenever you need. The other way is you can also jump into the web as you look for the Cambridge dictionaries, okay? If you go for Cambridge dictionaries, you will find two ways to pronounce it, the American way and also the European way. You can also find the other dictionary, which is Longman Contemporary Dictionary of English, which you just have to write L DOCE. Let me write it on the chat so all of you can have the Longman Dictionary for free online.
Oh, okay, teacher. I'll check. Thank you so much.
So LDOCE.com, that is the Longman Dictionary of Contemporary English. You can find ways to pronounce it, ways to explain it, and you can also find many sentences. As you can find phrasal verbs, idioms, synonyms, antonyms, and everything there in Longman Dictionary of Contemporary English. You can also use Cambridge dictionaries. You can also use Webster's Dictionary Online, Merriam-Webster, and there are many dictionaries, but they are the ones that we use to enhance our pronunciation. I was born in Ecuador, but I was taught English when I was 3 years of age. And it's been really difficult to pronounce English as it is, okay? It's really difficult. But anyway, I found ways to improve my English, and I also lived in the middle of British people, so they have taught me how to pronounce. So it depends. If I'm with British, I'll become British. If I'm with Americans, I become American. I try to adapt myself just to make myself understood. And okay, esta Flor, what is difficult for you when it comes to reading? You can write on the chat if you want to. If I ask you something, you can write it on the chat. Don't worry. What do you find difficult when reading? Anyone of you can respond. You can answer on the chat box, and I will just read it. Okay. What do you find really difficult when reading, apart from vocabulary? Yes, beginners or false beginners tend to translate because they have been taught to translate, or they want to find a way out. You know, a way out is the exit door, just to go away from the problem. The problem is not being able to read. So they say, okay, a way out could be translating. So they begin to translate. Translating is not a problem, but it could be a stumbling block. What does a stumbling block mean? A stumbling block means that they will stumble. They will find it even more difficult than just understanding. So there is a difference between understanding and comprehending. If you understand, you get the idea. If you comprehend it, you have the general idea, the whole picture. If you have the whole picture, let's say you take an airplane, and when you take an airplane, you can see Guayaquil from the top, or whenever you are from, you can see your city. Whenever you take an airplane, and then you see it from the top, and you have a better perspective of what it means, okay? Whereas when you're on land, you only see the streets, the houses, the places, but nothing else. When you're on the airplane, you can see the whole picture. Or when you take in a helicopter, then you will see everything. Distractions. So Jasmine says distractions. Yes, distractions are everywhere in the listening as well as the reading. They are called red herrings. So whenever you read, you will find many words, sentences, and ideas which are mixed with the right answers. And then distractions will show up. If you focus on distractions, yeah, it's dangerous. If you focus on the main directions, you will find the way. But how to find the way when you see distractions? First and foremost, you have to find out what distractions are all about. So distractions are what we call misunderstandings, double-edged swords. Double-edged swords means that it could be the right answer, but it's not. It could be dangerous. So for example, you see danger ahead. You see the something that says danger ahead, and then you know there is danger ahead, but it's not here. It's only ahead. You have to read the word ahead. So where is danger? Ahead. It's not right here. You only see danger, but you don't see where danger is. Danger ahead. So danger is ahead. It's not right here. Maybe if you continue go on, you will find the real danger. Okay. Sometimes audios are distorted or non-audible. Yes. Sometimes because they use many accents. So if you, in order to improve, it's not part of our reading, but it's part of understanding. So in order to improve your listening, you have to listen to as many as different accents as possible. I will give you a clue. Find the word Cockney English. You also have to read Cockney English. Cockney English. So Cockney English is one. You gotta listen to Cockney English. Cockney English is from London. So that is English from London. What we usually listen to in our teaching editions, such as Cambridge, IELTS, and all courses in English are in RP English. RP English is received pronunciation. What the Queen has told the media to teach is received pronunciation. But in real English, there are many variants of pronunciation, as well as reading. Even if you read, there are different ways to write something, okay? So you also have to be careful with the distractors when you're reading. Sometimes you want to find the main idea, but sometimes the idea is moved. It's not even there. Sometimes you have to infer. Whenever you find that something is kind of deviating, you have to infer. How do you infer? You have to infer based on the facts. You have to know the difference between facts, ideas, or illusion. When something is too illusionary or something deviates you from the right answer, try to look for the facts. What is real? What is not real? You have to tell off what is real, and then this is not real. It doesn't help me. It doesn't serve me. Then put it away. Only get what is real in the reading. So for example, if you take a look here in the reading, it says even though. Whenever you see the word even though, unlike, and so on, they will show you two things, a negative aspect and a positive aspect, okay? So even though people can't see me, I am important part of Earth's biosphere. So you have here two contrasting meanings. One is even though people can't see means unimportant. So unimportant is you can't see me. I am an important part of Earth's biosphere. So here you got the word biosphere. Biosphere is composed of whatever is alive on Earth, on the sea, and in the air. Okay, it could be in the ocean, it could be in a river, it could be in a jug of water, or it could be in a pitcher. It could be anywhere, even the faucet. That is part of biosphere. Biosphere means only the place around the Earth where something is alive. It could be a living thing. It could be a living animal. It could be a human, anything. So if you see here, it says scientists who study ecology know that I was the first life form on Earth. So scientists are people who study ecology or many other subjects, which are part of science. Science only means knowledge. If you have knowledge, you can comprehend. If you lack of it, you will be deviated from the real thing. So you also have to focus on synonyms. Synonyms will guide you, will get you where you have to go. If you don't understand a word, If you cannot pronounce it and it doesn't sound a bell inside your mind, don't worry about it. It is feasible. I will tell you how. You have to look for synonyms. Try to look for words that seem to be similar in meaning, and then you will find what the paragraph is all about. The second thing is you have to find also words which means the opposite, which are antonyms, sorry. So you have to focus on antonyms and synonyms. The first thing is to focus on synonyms, and then look for antonyms. Look for sentences which mean the opposite of the word. Also look for sentences that explain the word. For example, if you read paragraph 3 and you go to 1, 2, 3, 4, in the middle of the paragraph, in the fourth sentence, you will see something that will help us to understand, also to write better. I have course hairs called. So the word called is to explain something, okay? I have coarse hairs. We don't understand what coarse hairs mean. And then we read called, cilia. They are going to define what cilia means, okay? Cilia that help me swim around in here. I move my cilia in a repetitive motion for the duration of my swim. Then you have a better picture of what it means. You don't need to know cilia. You don't need to know the word coarse. You only have to read it carefully. I have coarse hairs called cilia that help me swim around in here. And I move my cilia in a repetitive motion for the duration of my swim. Another thing that will help you understand the picture of what it means is to think in images. Not only in images, but in motion pictures. So motion pictures are the base of a movie. So look at this as if you were watching a movie. When you're reading, you are watching a movie. That's why they call it novel. So a novel is part of a movie, okay? So when you're reading, you are in a movie. Try to figure out where is everything, try to compose it, try to paint it and to draw it in your mind. And then reading becomes easier. Even if you find words which are difficult, because when you're watching a movie, you don't understand everything. You can see something there, you don't know what it is for, don't worry about it. Keep on watching it as if you were watching a movie. When you're reading, you're watching a movie. Try to get yourself inside the movie. Try to be one of the characters. Try to explain everything to yourself, explain it to someone else, and read it out loud. Another thing that will help you improve dramatically your reading comprehension is reading out loud. So reading out loud. What if I'm not a native and I cannot pronounce it well? Don't worry about it. Keep on reading out loud. So when you read out loud, make sure that there is nobody around because they will start laughing at you. And that will be scornfully, okay? So when you read out loud as many times as possible, try to make it between 5 minutes to 15 minutes. So you don't go hard on your brain, okay? You don't read for an hour like crazy every day. Only read from 5 minutes to 15 minutes every day out loud. So when you read out loud, it will impress your mind and your heart, and then make your own that language. Even if you don't read well, even if you don't pronounce it well, don't worry about it. So practice it from 5 minutes to 15 minutes every single day, reading out loud to yourself. No matter what you read out loud to yourself, okay? So it could be a novel, it could be a tale, whatever you read, whatever you find important and whatever you find joyful, okay? Especially if you find it joyful. Another thing that I have found is to read the Bible in your own language or to read literature. Read literature. Don't read the news because the news are full of hatred and, that language is not good for us, not for our souls. Try to read something positive. Also, another thing that will help you read better is to try to listen to positive messages in English. There are many audiobooks on earth, on the net. So you can listen to them and you can also read the transcription. If you read the transcription alongside the audiobook, any audiobook which is based on something positive will help you get the gist of it, okay? You can also do the same measure, 5 minutes to 15 minutes a day. So you get used to it. First and foremost, you have to train yourself. How do you train yourself? You gotta practice it from 5 minutes to 15 minutes a day. For example, you can practice it for 1 week, a period of 5 minutes every single day. You can listen to something, 5 minutes a day, every single day for a week. And then you increase it. From 5 minutes, you go to 6 minutes, and then 7 minutes, and then 8 minutes, and then 9 minutes, and then 10 minutes. You have to do it in a period of 1 week each. So then you go to 11 minutes, 12 minutes, 13 minutes, 14 minutes, and then 15 minutes. So during that period, you have improved a lot because you have heard more English than before. Now you're ready to listen to it and to read, because listening improves your reading, okay? Whenever you listen to English, it improves your reading. Why? It makes a picture inside of your mind. Once you have the picture or the movie inside of your mind, your reading improves a lot. Believe me, you will be better equipped than a native. And also, when you don't know how to read or you don't know how to pronounce, don't worry about it. Keep on reading. So you will read for yourself. Read out loud from 5 minutes to 15 minutes. Do the same. So on Monday, I will read 5 minutes. On Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, for the first week, 5 minutes. The second week, 6 minutes. And the third week, 7 minutes, and so on. You can do that until you get to 15 minutes. Once you do 15 minutes every day, you will see the difference. It will help you a lot. You will read like quick, like a native, even better than natives, because some of them don't read. Nowadays, they stopped reading. I don't know why, but most of natives, they do read. Okay. Anyway, that's it for now. Thank you so much. In case you want to reach out to me, I have a webpage called inglesfeliz.com. So inglesfeliz.com, that's my webpage.
Thank you so much, dear Mark, for sharing these insights, about how we can learn from teaching, reading. Well, I'm completely sure that most of the teachers and also there are some students that follow you, and they have increased and they have potentialized, for example, the way that we can use the reading skills, and you illustrated with some real example with paragraph. How can we understand, for example, synonyms, antonyms, some kind of reading activities to develop our vocabulary. So as I said before, vocabulary is very important because it's a prominent part of the English language, because we can develop the other skills. Without it, it's almost impossible to develop it. So, Mark, let me read some comments now.
Okay.
Lino, thank you, Lino. Thanks for sharing your experience with us. So, thanks, Lino. In this moment, please, dear teachers, if you want to say something and you want to make a comment, please, you can do it. All right. Mr. Maurice, Nereida, Pablo, or anyone who wants to share something.
Hello, I'm Karen.
Hello,
So I'm
hi.
inside
Okay,
because
Karen.
I am.
How are you, Karen?
Hello,
Thanks.
I'm joined too late, but I could just it was totally interesting, Mr. Maldonado. because make me remind remember what how to read, you know, all the tricks that we have to use. And when I remember that what I have to do when you don't understand a word. So, and when we were talking about, and I said, okay, I remember what I was taught. So, thank you, thanks, Andres, because you remind me when I was studying. So and yeah, those it is quite good, you know, to remember things and to be taught again, because we tend to forget something. So, and thank you. It was an extremely nice presentation, and even the way that you explain things, you have a totally patient for explaining things. It was totally understandable. So I said again, thanks and sorry for being late. Thank you, Mr. Maldonado, and thanks, Andres.
You're most welcome.
Okay, thanks, Karen, for your insight. Don't worry. I was completely sure that you were serving this part of the webinar. Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Well, I would like to
Please go ahead, Mr. Maurice. Thank you.
I would like to thank you, Andres, and Mr. Maldonado for letting us be here today, and I hope to see you in the next webinar.
Thank you, Maurice.
Thank you so much, Mr. Maldonado, for all your explanation. That's an important part that we, as a teacher, as colleague, we need to know how to improve the reading in our students.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks, Maurice, for your comment about it. Okay, so well, finally, I would say that I think that this kind of topics are very relevant, because in our preparation as teachers, and when we conduct any kind of work to promote interesting classes now with our students, to prepare them, even though they are not proficiency or B1 or B2, even lower courses, I think that this knowledge is very important to work with basic students, false beginners, or beginner students, because they're the ones that giving the first steps, no, in the reading. For example, even though they do not have the vocabulary or the basic vocabulary to start up their the reading development, I think that we teachers have the power to use effective reading strategies to motivate and encourage their use, no, and improve their, because there are some students who they're eager to learn about it. So in classes, most of students know how to, they don't know how to understand some keywords. But if we use effectively keys to support them, we're going to achieve the purpose. Okay. Thank you so much. No, Mr. Maldonado, Maldonado is requiring, please, you need to write your name or surname. Yes, of course, please, dear teacher, write your name and surname, because we're going to cordially invite you for the next webinar. So maybe some of you are invited by Facebook or any social media or by WhatsApp, but I don't have some emails, but it could be great if we share with you in the next webinars. Thank you, Mr. Licenciado Toscano. Okay, yes, you can keep in touch with Mark. Okay, Mark, Mr. Toscano is asking you if you have you can download some books. Yes, This is the
Yes, I can send you some. If you want to find me, you can log into inglesfeliz.com. That's my webpage. And there is my phone number and everything, okay?
Yes, I'm going
I
to.
will send you books for free. Don't worry.
Thank you so much, Mark. I'm going to share with you that website, okay, that website in the Facebook, no, in the English groups, the English teacher group, and they can get access.
Okay, nice.
No, thank you, Mr. Toscano. Teachers, thanks for coming. It was more than a pleasure to see you here. So I hope you have a very nice weekend. Hope to see you for the next round of sessions of webinars in March, okay? I invite you, so I will keep in touch with you. Have a nice rest of the day. See you next time. Goodbye. Thanks, Mark.
You're most welcome. I'm happy. I'm extremely elated to having been here.
No, it's okay because I think that it wasn't necessary for us to learn more about it. So if you regularly think, Mark, that it's necessary a second part, you are glad invited to present in another presentation.
I got many topics just to improve our reading, listening, and also speaking. I will help you improve your speaking like quick.
Sounds great. So we can keep in touch and discuss about it. How will you be your next presentation? Maybe in the next month or when you are available to do it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a nice weekend.
See you, everybody.
Next time.
Have a nice.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.